Hello vinyl community, welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna show you a couple of records by Americans that left their home country and came to Europe and released music here. Music that only came out here in Europe at the time. And these are from the late 60s, early 70s, mainly psychedelic records, acid folk, some singer-songwriters. And some of these records are of course rare and some of them are a bit obscure. Some you might have heard of, some might be new to you.
And America, why are you driving your children from your shores and your highways and your free streets?
And the first one I'm gonna show is Tucker Zimmerman. 10 songs by Tucker Zimmerman. This is an American who came from San Francisco. This guy. He came to Europe, I think, to study in the late 60s. And he came to Italy and then he moved around in Europe and ended up in the UK, where he met up with the producer Tony Visconti, another American who came to Europe to work here. And they recorded this album together. This is a UK press on Regal Zonophone label, released on these classic UK labels. This is a really great singer-songwriter album. He many of his songs were kind of political and taking a stab at the US at the time. There are also some great musicians backing him here. We got Rick Wakeman, he's playing keyboard, and we have Ashley Dunbar playing drums, and Sean Phillips is playing guitar. And of course Tony Visconti is playing bass. This is from 1969, so it was right before he started to work with Bowie and Mark Bolan and T-Rex and doing all these classic records that he did in the early 70s. And Bowie was a big fan of this one. So this is the first example of an American who left and recorded and released an album in Europe. 10 songs by Tucker Zimmerman.
Matador magicians with the pendulums of their hands are throwing questions into vacant corridors of waiting, then stand back to laugh at circles of confusion, lines of answers, and the shapes from sudden pressure of their face against the glass.
Next up we have an American trio with 3 girls that came to Europe and released only one album. And this is a little bit of a favorite of mine. It's The Sound of Sunforest, released on Decca in 1970. These 3 American girls came and moved around in Europe, and for some reason they got a deal with Decca to release an album. The music is a little bit of a mix of Mamas and Papas and Incredible String Band, so it's like this acid folky, and it has these pop songs. And they often sing like 3-part harmonies, and this is an absolutely magical LP. And the songs here are like filled with lighthouse keepers, peppermint stores, magicians in the mountains, and the lady next door is a hippie. And you know, really like these hippy-dippy kind of fun songs, quite light and fun songs. It's a bit like fairies move into your attic and starting to do acid or something. It's in a world of its own. Actually, this LP came out at the same time as Stanley Kubrick were doing his Clockwork Orange movie. And he heard this and he fell in love with some of their songs. So he asked the band if they could re-record a couple of tracks for the soundtrack. And it's Overture of the Sun and Lighthouse Keeper. So they recorded 2 songs that appeared on the Clockwork Orange soundtrack. But even though it came on that soundtrack, this LP didn't sell much at all, and they didn't get the chance to release any more music at Decca. They sing really great and they have absolutely beautiful, beautiful songs. This is the UK stereo press that came out on Deram Nova. Deram Nova is, I guess they are owned by Decca. I said Decca Nova before, but it's actually Deram Nova. And these UK originals has this like peephole to see if it's mono or stereo press. Absolutely lovely cover art in this laminated sleeve. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. And of course this like glossy laminated sleeve that we all love. Really beautiful one. So an absolutely lovely hippy dippy psych folk album by Sunforest.
Gypsy in her caravan, connected with another land. Sad and funny, but it's not so wise. They roam their worlds wide. Anticipation in their eyes. I teach them how to smile in their eyes.
Yeah, Sunforest. Beautiful stuff. We heard the song Where Are You there. One of my favorites from the album.
America, why are you sending your children from your gates? Oh, America, quit pretending.
Next up, we have another American that left to Europe to record and release music here. And he called himself Amory Kane. And this is his album Just to Be There. Also really beautiful hippy dippy kind of cover. This one was released on CBS Records in 1970. It's got a great look there. That's my summer look this year, I think. Yes, Amory Kane, I'm not sure what his real name was, but I think he took this name, Amory Kane, and that is like American, Amory Kane. So he was called the American by his friends in the UK. So they started to call him Amory Kane. So he used that for his like stage name. And this is his second album. And this album has some really great acid folk tracks, especially on side A. And side A is almost like a suite of songs filled with like space age sound effects and trippy guitars and some really great songs on this side A. Side B is like more traditional singer-songwriter, still really pleasant, but I mostly play the A side on this that I think is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I think he teamed up with the UK artist Tim Hollier. Tim Hollier wrote some songs for Amory Kane, and Amory Kane wrote some songs for Tim Hollier that they recorded. So they recorded one another's songs. And one of the songs, the opening track, Evolution, I think is the Land Stephen Hill, the second song, is a song by Tim Hollier. And I'm going to play a little sample of that. I think it's absolutely beautiful acid folk.
Through cold walls where seasons slept, beside the frozen fire, which burned the warning we were not alone. On the beach just by the trees, so very far below, a woman filled with life was walking slow. As she looked out on the sea which shimmered.
And now to the most famous artist in this batch of records, and it's Lee Hazlewood with his record Cowboy in Sweden that came out in 1970. And this is actually the soundtrack to a TV special from Sweden where I haven't seen the film, but Lee Hazlewood basically rides off the airplane on his horse and cowboy hat and everything, and ride through Sweden and like meet up beautiful Swedish girls. I'm not really sure what it's all about, but it was really popular here in Sweden. So this is a very common record to find here in Sweden. I think it's more hard to find in America. And it's a gatefold cover. You can see pictures from the film, from the TV film here, like chilling out with his cigarette. And this was released on his own LHI, Lee Hazlewood Industries or something, records in 1970. And this is like a surreal country psych LP. There are some absolutely stunning tracks here, and many of them are like classic orchestrated in typically Lee Hazlewood way. A bit like Some Velvet Morning, you know. It's not far from that, but that one is maybe even more trippy. But it's a bit like that on this LP. I'm not really sure why Lee Hazlewood came to Sweden, but I think he had some issues with the IRS, or he has some economic issues in America with his record label. So he lived here in Sweden for a couple of years in the early 70s, and he released this and a couple of other records here. And I mean, this is country music, but he has European musicians, and they do it really well. It sounds absolutely fantastic. And I mean, just look at him. So released on his LHI label. This is a cheapie. You could find this in thrift stores a couple of years ago. These days it's going up in price, but still a cheap record to get here. And pick it up if you haven't got it. It's a lovely, lovely album. I'm gonna play an absolutely beautiful song, No Train to Stockholm. That is also a little bit of an anti-Vietnam War song. So maybe he had some political reasons for coming to Europe.
Governments and politicians too. There's lots of people feel the way we do. 100 million of us can't be wrong. Singing freedom is where you think it is, but there ain't no train to Stockholm.
The last album I'm gonna show is an absolutely brilliant psychedelic pop album that was released 1968 in the Netherlands only. Came out on Decca, and it's Mike Tingley, the Abstract Prince. And this guy came from California. And this is a Netherlands original. It was released on this unboxed Decca. This is like psychedelic chamber pop, orchestrated, beautiful, lovely songs. Some of them have some like Eastern vibes. I mean, this from 68, so it was kind of popular to do that. And the themes are very like dreamlike. Really, really great late 60s pop Psych. And he wasn't into drugs at all, I think, and he didn't even drink. So, but he did some psychedelic music, I would say. And he left California, and I think he left for love. He hooked up with a Swedish girl, and when she went back to Sweden, he kind of followed her, knocked on her door, said, "Hi, here I am." And she was a bit surprised when he showed up there at her door, and that is not a good thing. You don't like buy a one-way ticket across the Atlantic Ocean to like knock on a girl's door that you have had a fling with for a couple of months in America. So yeah, I guess they dated for a while, but then she wanted to move on, and he didn't have any money, so he like hitchhiked down to Amsterdam, where he started to play his songs on cafes there, and he wrote his own songs, and eventually he got picked up by a producer who wanted to record and release his music. So I think he just did this album and then he vanished. But it's really, really great, and I think he had some really good sessions musicians who played on this, and I mean the orchestration is just fabulous. And there are some interesting facts on the back here. You can see birthplace, Huntington Park, California. Date of birth, June 5th, 1947. And his family and his former occupation, computer technician. How about that? His favorite Dutch group on stage, Blues Dimension. What do you want to do with your life? Be happy. I'm gonna play a little sample from the Abstract Prince here, the title track.
So don't try to touch me, there is nothing you can feel. Don't try to see me, I am nothing that is real. Imagination's void is the birthplace of my teachings. The back streets of your mind are where I do my preaching. You're clinging to the bootstraps of humanity. You entered through the back door of insanity. Democracy is useless to your feeble mind.
So there you have it. 5 Americans, 5 albums of great artists that came to Europe. So whether they came for political reasons or for economical reasons or just follow their creative instincts or for whatever reasons they came here and they did some really great music that was only released here in Europe. When a country turns away from democracy and see education system as a threat, or the political opponents as enemies, or starting to blame like a minority for all the problems in the country, I think that many of the intellectuals and the artists and the free thinkers, they tend to leave their country to find a better place. I mean, in the 30s, many Europeans turned away from what was happening here. They moved to America to find a more peaceful life there, where they could express their thoughts or like continue with their work. So if your country would like go to full dystopia, which country would you go to? Please put down a comment and let me know. And give me more examples of artists that left their home country and released music elsewhere. So until next time, please remember that love is stronger than hate and peace is better than war. So be kind to each other, buy records, and I see you around. Peace out.